The NFL offseason is heating up, and the Minnesota Vikings are at the center of major negotiations. In recent days, the franchise has made decisions that could completely change the team's future, both on the offensive line and at the quarterback position. Don't miss any details of these moves. Stay up to date with all the news by subscribing to Report Vikings, your exclusive news channel about everything that happens with the franchise. Let's get to today's news. Minnesota Vikings trade Ed Ingram to Texans. Continue offensive line overhaul. Ed Ingram's time as a guard for the Minnesota Vikings is officially over. The franchise announced Thursday that he has traded the player to the Houston Texans, marking another step in the overhaul of its offensive line. The trade comes just 2 days after Vikings general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah bolstered the position with the signing of Will Fries in free agency. In exchange for Ingram's departure, Minnesota will receive a 6th-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. The news was reported by NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport, who highlighted the reason for the move. Vikings guard Ed Ingram is being traded to the Texans, sources say, as Houston continues to overhaul its offensive line. The former LSU second-rounder is on the move, thanks in part to Minnesota's heavy investment in the OL this offseason. New chance in Houston. For Ed Ingram, the move represents a new opportunity. On his new team, he will join an offensive line group that already has names like Juice Scruggs, Laken Tomlinson, Nick Broker, and Tremaine Ankrum Jr. Ingram. However, will have to fight for a spot among the starters, especially with Tomlinson, who recently arrived in Houston as a free agent. The Texans have been active in the market to reinforce their protection for quarterback C.J. Stroud, one of the great highlights of last season. The franchise understands that ensuring a solid offensive line will be essential to continue the development of the young QB, and Ingram arrives to be another piece in that puzzle. Minnesota strengthens offensive line and continues with changes. The Vikings' decision to trade Ed Ingram is part of a broader move by the team to improve its protection in the pocket. The elimination to the Los Angeles Rams in the wild card round last season, where Minnesota suffered 9 sacks against then quarterback Sam Darnold, exposed weaknesses in the offensive line and made it clear that changes were needed. After the 27-9 loss, Coach Kevin O'Connell made no secret of his dissatisfaction and assured that the franchise would work to strengthen the sector. There's no doubt that we need to find a way to give more time to our quarterback. With players like Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, and T.J. Hawkinson, it is essential to solidify the interior of the offensive line, said O'Connell. The arrival of Will Fries and Ryan Kelly, in addition to the departure of Ingram, reinforces this commitment. The signing of Kelly also raises questions about the future of current Vikings center Garrett Bradbury, who could be the next player to be traded. Teams such as the Atlanta Falcons and New England Patriots appear as possible interested parties. Another name that could be in the running for a trade is linebacker Brian Asamoah, further increasing expectations of movement behind the scenes in Minnesota. Financial impact and draft planning. In addition to the technical impact, Ingram's trade also brings financial benefits to the Vikings. With his departure, the team frees up $3.4 million in salary cap space, providing more flexibility for future signings or contract extensions. With the 2024 draft approaching, the Vikings are looking for ways to accumulate more picks. The team currently holds the 24th overall pick, but there is speculation that Adofo-Mensah may try to trade that spot in search of more assets. As the Vikings continue their offseason moves, one thing is certain. The team is determined to build a stronger and more competitive offensive line for next season. Big deal. Colts trade Anthony Richardson to Vikings for J.J. McCarthy. The Minnesota Vikings quarterback landscape has undergone a dramatic shift in recent months. After the 2024 season, it looked like Sam Darnold could secure a long-term contract with the franchise, but his inconsistent performance down the stretch has changed those plans. With negotiations falling apart, Darnold signed a lucrative contract with the Seattle Seahawks. In addition, Minnesota lost backup Daniel Jones to the Indianapolis Colts in free agency. Now, the Vikings are preparing to enter the 2025 season with J.J. McCarthy as their starter. But is he really the definitive answer for the franchise's future? A new twist could be on the horizon. Vikings target Anthony Richardson to lead offense. Minnesota took a chance on J.J. McCarthy as their quarterback of the future in the 2024 NFL Draft, but the young player's trajectory has suffered a major setback. A meniscus injury sidelined him for his entire rookie season, meaning he'll need time to adjust to the pace of the NFL when he returns in 2025. Given this uncertainty, the Vikings may be considering an alternative solution, trading for Anthony Richardson, the Colts quarterback who was already a target of interest in the 2023 NFL Draft. Richardson, drafted 4th overall by the Colts that year, entered the NFL as a high-potential prospect. However, his transition to the professional level has not been smooth. The young QB struggled with accuracy and inconsistency on the field, which led to his replacement by Joe Flacco at one point during the season. With the Colts looking for a quarterback who can run their offense more efficiently, a trade with Minnesota could be beneficial for both sides. Why do the Vikings want Richardson? Coach Kevin O'Connell's offensive scheme appears to be a perfect fit for Richardson's skills. With his dual threat ability, he can extend plays outside the pocket and throw the ball with power and ease downfield. Having targets like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison on his side would make his adaptation even more fluid. Additionally, Minnesota needs a dynamic and explosive quarterback to compete in an increasingly competitive NFC. Richardson's arrival could speed up that process and give the Vikings an offensive commander with great development ceiling. Colts could see McCarthy as a long-term solution. On the other hand, the Colts could benefit from bringing J.J. McCarthy into their lineup. He is a quick and efficient processor of plays, traits that fit well with Indianapolis' solid running game, led by Jonathan Taylor. With Joe Flacco potentially returning on a one-year deal, McCarthy would have time to learn under the tutelage of a seasoned veteran before assuming the starting role. This would also allow him to fully recover from his meniscus surgery and be ready to lead the team in 2026. Trade could benefit both franchises. The move between the Vikings and Colts makes sense for both sides. Minnesota would have a quarterback who has already been tested in the NFL and has the potential to shine in a dynamic offensive system, while Indianapolis would bet on a player who is better prepared to process defenses and lead a balanced attack. If this trade does happen, the directions of both franchises could change drastically, with the Vikings accelerating their rebuild and the Colts securing a stable piece for the future. The offseason promises to be very exciting, and this possible trade could be one of the biggest events of the NFL market.